My daughter replaced my heart medication with sugar pills for an inheritance. I thought the fluttering in my chest was just old age until I found a trail of white crystals on the kitchen counter. At first, I blamed myself. I was 71. My hands shook sometimes. I forgot why I walked into rooms. I left tea steeping until it turned bitter and paid the same water bill twice in 1 month. So when my heart started skipping in a way that made me grip the edge of the sink, I told myself it was just another thing my body had decided to take from me. Then I saw the powder. A thin, uneven line of white crystals stretched across the kitchen counter, leading from my weekly pill organizer to the edge of the sink. I stood there in my bathrobe, one hand on my chest, staring at it. Sugar. I knew because I touched one finger to the counter and tasted it. Sweet. For a few seconds, I couldn't understand what I was seeing. My heart medication sat in the little blue compartment marked Thursday, the same round white pill I had taken every morning for 8 years. The pill my cardiologist had warned me never to miss, but when I picked it up, it felt wrong. Too soft, too chalky. I pressed my thumbnail into the edge. The pill crumbled. My real medication never crumbled. I don't remember sitting down, but suddenly I was at the kitchen table with the ruined pill in my palm, staring toward the hallway where my daughter's old bedroom door stood half open. Sonia had moved back in 3 months earlier. She said it was temporary. Just until I get back on my feet, Mom. That was what she always said, after her divorce, after the failed bakery, after the boutique candle business that somehow lost money before it ever opened. After the boyfriend who borrowed her savings and disappeared. I let her come home because she was my daughter, because she cried on my porch with 2 suitcases and said she had nowhere else to go. Because even at 42, with streaks of gray at her temples and anger sitting permanently behind her eyes, I still saw the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. But that morning, sitting at my kitchen table with sugar dust on my fingertips, I saw someone else. Someone who knew exactly where my medication was, someone who made my tea, someone who had started saying things like, "You shouldn't worry so much about the house, Mom. I'll handle everything when the time comes." When the time comes, my stomach turned. I didn't confront her right away. That surprised me more than anything. All my life, I believed I was the kind of woman who faced things directly. I had faced my husband's funeral. I had faced hospital rooms. I had faced unpaid bills and roof leaks and nights when loneliness felt like another person in the bed beside me. But I could not walk down that hall and ask my only child if she was trying to kill me. Instead, I put the fake pill into a small plastic bag from the junk drawer. Then I took the pill organizer, slid it into my robe pocket, and called my pharmacy. "This is Ruth White," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "I need to ask something about my heart medication." The pharmacist, Mr. Novick, had known me for years. "Of course, Mrs. White. Is everything all right?" "I'm not sure." My voice cracked on the last word. There was a pause. "Can you bring the pills in?" "I can. Come now." I looked down the hallway again. Sonia's door was still closed. I took my purse, my keys, and the plastic bag. For the first time in my life, I left my own house quietly, like I was sneaking out of someone else's. Mr. Novick didn't make me wait. He opened the little bag behind the counter, examined the broken pill, then looked at me in a way that told me the answer before he spoke. "This is not your prescription." I gripped the counter. "What is it?" "I can't say exactly without testing, but this isn't manufactured medication." "It looks compressed. Homemade, possibly." "Homemade?" He lowered his voice. "Mrs. White, where did this come from?" "My pill organizer." "Who fills it?" "I do." Then I stopped, because that wasn't completely true anymore. For years, I filled it every Sunday evening. Then Sonia moved back in and started hovering. "Sit down, Mom. I'll do that. Your hands are shaking." At first, I thought it was kindness. I even felt grateful. Now I remembered her standing at the counter with my pill bottles lined up in front of her, her back blocking my view. "Mr. Novick placed both hands on the counter. "I need you to call your doctor today, and you need to take only pills directly from the prescription bottle until this is sorted out." I nodded, but I was barely listening, because one question had already become another. If Sonia had replaced Thursday's pill, had she replaced the others too? And if she had, how long had I been taking sugar instead of medicine? My cardiologist worked me in that afternoon. By then, Sonia had texted twice. "Where did you go? You okay? Mom?" I didn't answer. "Doctor." Patel listened as I explained. She didn't interrupt. She didn't soften her face with pity, which I appreciated. She ordered blood work and ECG and checked my medication levels. When she came back into the exam room, she was holding the chart too tightly. "Your levels are low," she said. "How low?" "Low enough that I don't believe you've been taking your medication consistently." "I have. I believe you." That was when my eyes filled, not because I was scared, because someone believed me before I had to beg. Dr. Patel sat beside me. "Ruth, I'm going to ask you a difficult question. Is there anyone in your home who might have access to your medication?" I looked at my hands. "My daughter." She was quiet for a moment. "Are you safe going home?" I almost said yes. That was habit. Mothers protect daughters even from questions. But then my heart fluttered again, hard enough to steal my breath. "No," I whispered. "I don't think I am." Dr. Patel helped me call my neighbor, Paula, who picked me up and insisted I stay with her for the night. Sonia called 6 times, then she left a message. "Mom, you're scaring me." "Where are you? This is really selfish, you know. I have things going on too." I listened to it in Paula's guest room, sitting on a floral bedspread under a framed watercolor of a beach. Selfish. That was the word that broke something loose in me. Not afraid, not worried. Selfish. The next morning, I called an attorney. His name was Anthony Bell, and he had handled the transfer of my house into a trust after my husband died. When I told him what had happened, he didn't gasp or tell me I must be mistaken. He asked one question. "Has Sonia recently asked you about your estate?" My mouth went dry. She asked where the trust documents were. "When?" "Last week." "Did you show her?" "No, I told her they were in the filing cabinet." "Were they?" "Yes. Check them." Paula drove me back home while Sonia was out. I had never been afraid of my own front door before. The house looked normal. That was the cruelest part. My mug was still in the sink. The mail was stacked on the hall table. Sonia's sandals were kicked off beside the sofa. Nothing looked like a crime scene. I went straight to the filing cabinet in my bedroom. The trust folder was there. But the documents inside were not in the order I kept them. I knew my own habits. I clipped everything with blue binder clips. I put sticky notes on the signature pages. I kept Sonia's copy of the beneficiary section in the back. Now the clips were gone. The sticky notes were missing, and tucked between 2 pages was a document I had never seen before. A new amendment. It said that upon my death, my home, savings, and investment account would pass solely to Sonia White. My breath went cold. That was not what my trust said. My trust divided everything between Sonia and my late son's 2 children, Isaac and Penny. My son, Martin, had died young, and I had promised him before the cancer took his voice that his children would be protected. Sonia knew that. She resented it. "They have their mother," she once snapped after too much wine. "I only have you." I lifted the last page. There was my signature. Or something pretending to be my signature. It had the right shape but not the right pressure. The R was too tall. The T in white looped backward in a way mine never had. Below it was a notary stamp. My knees weakened. Sonia hadn't just been waiting for me to die. She had prepared paperwork for after. I heard the front door open. "Mom," I froze. Her footsteps moved through the living room. "Mom," I saw Paula's car outside. I slid the amendment into my purse and closed the cabinet. Sonia appeared in the bedroom doorway. She looked tired, irritated. Beautiful in the way that still made my heart ache because I remembered braiding her hair before school. Then her eyes dropped to my purse. "What are you doing?" I stood slowly. "I came to get a few things. You disappeared overnight and didn't answer your phone. I needed space." "Space from what?" I looked at her. She folded her arms. The old Sonia would have cried first. This Sonia got angry first. "From my medication making me sick," I said. Her face did not change much, but it changed enough. A flicker, a blink too long. "I told you those pills were too strong," she said. "You told me a lot of things." "What is that supposed to mean?" "It means Dr. Patel ran tests." The color moved out of her cheeks, only a little. "You went to your doctor?" "Yes." Without telling me, that almost made me laugh. I wasn't aware I needed permission. She stepped into the room. You're being dramatic. You've been confused lately. You forget things. You accused me of taking your charger last week and it was in your purse. It was under your mail. See? This is what I mean. There it was. The shift, not denial, not concern, positioning. She wasn't trying to convince me nothing happened. She was trying to convince me I couldn't trust my own mind. I held her gaze. Did you replace my heart pills? Her mouth opened. For 1 second, she looked like a child caught with a broken lamp. Then she laughed. It was too sharp. Are you insane? No, you think I'm trying to hurt you? I think someone put fake pills in my organizer. Well, it wasn't me. No one else lives here. You fill that thing yourself. Not anymore. She stared at me, then her eyes hardened. I was helping you. With what? The pills or the trust amendment? That landed. Her lips parted. I had my answer. But answers were dangerous when they only opened bigger questions. How far had she gone? Who notarized the document? And had she already used it? Sonia took 1 step closer. What amendment? I picked up my overnight bag. The one in my purse. Her voice dropped. Mom, I moved toward the door. She blocked me. Give it to me. No, you don't understand what you're doing. I understand more than you hoped I would. Her face twisted. You always do this. You always make me the villain. I felt something inside me go quiet. No, Sonia, I spent your whole life doing the opposite. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Paula called from the front porch. Ruth, everything all right? Sonia stepped aside. But as I passed her, she whispered, You'll regret this. The next layer came from the notary stamp. Anthony traced it to a mobile notary named Gloria Vance. She notarized the amendment 6 weeks ago, he told me over the phone. According to her log, you were present. I was not. She has a photocopy of your driver's license. My hand tightened around the phone. My license went missing. When? I closed my eyes. About 2 months ago. I remembered it clearly. I had torn through my purse before a dentist appointment, embarrassed while Sonia stood in the doorway. Mom, you probably left it at the grocery store, she said. 2 days later, it reappeared in the basket near the front door. I had been relieved, not suspicious. Anthony, I said, can we prove I wasn't there? Maybe. Gloria's log includes an address. He paused. It was notarized at your home. I sat very still. That's impossible. Was Sonia home that day? She lives with me. Then we need to talk to the notary. Gloria Vance was a thin woman with nervous hands and silver glasses she kept pushing up her nose. Anthony arranged the meeting at his office. Paula came with me because I no longer trusted my own strength in rooms where people lied politely. Gloria looked at me once and immediately looked away. That told me more than I wanted to know. Anthony placed the amendment on the table. Miss Vance, you notarized this document? Yes. And you verified Ruth White's identity? Yes. With the woman sitting here, Gloria's fingers trembled. She glanced at me. I thought so. My skin prickled. You thought so? She had your ID. Who? Gloria swallowed. Your daughter said you were recovering from dental surgery. She said you couldn't speak well because of swelling. The woman was in a robe, sitting in a chair with sunglasses on. I stared at her. There was another woman? Gloria nodded, miserable. She kept her head down. I asked if she understood what she was signing, and she nodded. Anthony's voice sharpened. Did you see her sign? Yes. Did she speak? No. Did Sonia explain why? She said her mother had taken pain medication and was embarrassed. Paula made a small sound beside me. But I was already somewhere else. A woman in my robe, my sunglasses, my daughter standing beside her speaking for me. My signature forged in my own house while I sat in a dentist chair across town. The betrayal had a body now, not just missing pills, not just forged documents. A staged version of me. I leaned forward. What did the woman look like? Gloria hesitated. Older than your daughter, but not your age. My stomach dropped. Was she tall, dark hair? Yes, I knew then. Sonia's friend Tessa, not a friend exactly. A woman from her divorce support group who had been to my house twice. She was soft-spoken, always looking at Sonia before answering questions, like permission was something she needed. I remembered Sonia once joking, Tessa would do anything for me. At the time, I thought it was affection. Now it sounded like inventory. Anthony asked Gloria if she would provide a written statement. She cried before she said yes. On the ride home, Paula kept glancing at me. "You're shaking." "I'm angry. You should be scared too." "I am," but fear had changed shape. At first, I was afraid of dying. Now I was afraid of how much of my life had been quietly rearranged while I was still inside it. That afternoon, Anthony reviewed my bank accounts. I expected the trust amendment to be the worst of it. It wasn't. There had been 3 attempted transfers from my investment account. All denied because Sonia was not authorized. But 2 weeks earlier, someone had submitted paperwork requesting power of attorney activation. Attached was a doctor's letter stating I was experiencing cognitive decline and required assistance managing financial and medical decisions. The letter had Dr. Patel's name on it. It was fake. That was the midpoint, though I didn't understand it until later. Until then, I believed Sonia wanted my inheritance after I died. Now I saw the truth was uglier. She wasn't only preparing for my death. She was building a case to take control while I was alive. Once she controlled my medication, my finances, and the story of my mind failing, she wouldn't need to wait. She could move me into a facility, sell my house, empty the accounts. And if my heart gave out along the way, everyone would call it natural. I thought of every time she had sighed in front of relatives. Mom's been a little confused lately. Every time she corrected me in public. "No, Mom, that's not what happened." Every time she insisted on driving me to appointments, sitting in the exam room, answering questions before I could. She had not snapped one day and replaced my pills. She had been laying groundwork. Patiently, carefully, with my own love as cover, Dr. Patel was furious when Anthony showed her the forged letter. Not offended. Furious. "This is not my signature," she said, "and I never wrote this." She documented everything. My blood work, my mental status exam, the medication issue, the fact that I was fully capable of making my own decisions. Then she said, "Ruth, you need to make a police report." That word felt enormous. Police, against my daughter. I sat in the parking lot afterward with the paperwork in my lap. Paula waited silently beside me. "I keep thinking about when she was 7, I said. Paula didn't answer. "She had pneumonia. She was so small in that hospital bed. I slept in a chair for 4 nights because she screamed when I left." My throat closed. "How do I report that child to the police?" Paula's voice was gentle. "You're not reporting that child. You're reporting the woman who tried to erase you." I cried then. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to let the truth enter my body. The officer who took my report asked careful questions. He photographed the fake pills, took copies of the forged documents, and listened to Mr. Novick, Dr. Patel, Anthony, and Gloria. Then he asked if I had any cameras in the house. "No," I said. Then I remembered. My husband's old wildlife camera. Years earlier, Harold had set it up near the back porch to find out what kept knocking over the trash cans. After he died, I put it in the hall closet and forgot about it. But 3 months earlier, Sonia had complained about raccoons again. I had said, "There's a little camera in the closet if you want to set it up." She rolled her eyes and said, "I'm not spying on raccoons, Mom." But when Paula drove me back to collect more clothes, I checked the closet. The camera was gone. That raised another question. If Sonia hadn't wanted it, where was it? I found it in the kitchen pantry, tucked behind a stack of paper towels, facing the counter. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Why would Sonia hide a camera facing the place where she filled my pills? Then I saw the small red light. It was still recording. I took it to the officer without watching it first. I was afraid if I saw my daughter on that screen, my courage would fail. The police watched it. Then they asked me to come in. The footage showed the kitchen over several days. Most of it was boring. Me making toast. Sonia scrolling on her phone. The changing afternoon light. Then, on Sunday evening, Sonia entered the frame carrying my pill organizer and a small plastic container. She opened my prescription bottle. She removed several pills. Then she crushed something white in a small bowl, added a drop of water, and pressed the mixture into a little silicone mold. Sugar pills, made at my counter. Her movements were calm. Practiced. Not frantic. Not confused. At one point, she looked toward the pantry and smiled. That smile made my blood run cold. "Why would she record herself?" I asked. The officer paused the footage. "We wondered the same thing." The answer came 2 clips later. Sonia stood in the kitchen with her phone propped against the toaster, recording a video of herself. She held up my pill organizer. "My mother has been double dosing and mixing up her medication," she said, voice trembling perfectly. "I'm trying to document everything because I'm scared she's going to hurt herself and blame me." I stared at the screen. She wasn't recording the crime. She was preparing a defense. The hidden camera caught what her phone did not. After she finished her little performance, she took the real pills out and replaced them with the fake ones. My daughter had planned not only to harm me, but to be believed afterward. The final reveal came from Tessa. The police found her before they arrested Sonia. I don't know what Sonia had promised her, but it wasn't enough once officers started asking questions. Tessa gave them messages, hundreds of them. Sonia had written everything down, not in one clean confession, nothing that simple. But piece by piece, the messages showed the shape of it. She owed money, a lot of it, not from a failed business, not from bad luck, from loans she had taken against promises she couldn't keep. She had borrowed from friends, from online lenders, from a man she had met through her ex-husband who did not operate like a bank and did not forgive missed payments. The house was supposed to solve everything. My house, my husband's house. The home where we marked our children's heights on the pantry door. Sonia's first plan had been to convince me to change the trust. When I refused to remove Isaac and Penny, she moved to the amendment. When the forged amendment would not help until after my death, she tried power of attorney. When power of attorney required evidence that I was declining, she began creating evidence. The fake pills were not only meant to weaken my heart, they were meant to make me look confused, unstable, medically fragile. Missed medication would cause symptoms. Symptoms would support the forged doctor letter. The forged letter would support power of attorney. Power of attorney would give her control. And if I died before anyone questioned it, the forged trust would finish the job. That was the deepest truth. She had not chosen one way to betray me. She had built a system. A quiet system where every piece explained the next. Even her moving home had not been desperation. It had been access. When they arrested Sonia, I was at Paula's house. I did not go outside to watch. I heard about it later from the officer. She cried first. Then she yelled. Then she claimed I was confused. Then they showed her still images from the pantry camera. After that, she asked for a lawyer. For 2 weeks, I didn't sleep well. I kept waking up at 3 a.m. with my hand pressed to my chest, listening for footsteps that weren't there. My heart stabilized once I was back on the correct medication, but something else in me stayed unsteady. People think betrayal is one moment. It is not. It is a room you have to keep walking through. Every memory changes as you pass it. The tea she made me, the way she watched me swallow. The way she told relatives I was forgetful. The way she touched my shoulder in public like a devoted daughter while privately preparing to take my voice away. Anthony repaired the trust documents and added stronger protections. Dr. Patel wrote a full medical statement. Mr. Novik changed my prescriptions to blister packs I picked up myself. Paula helped me change the locks. I removed Sonia from every emergency contact, every account, every form where I had once written her name because she was my child and I trusted that blood meant safety. It didn't. The court case took months. Sonia accepted a plea after Tessa agreed to testify. Forgery, fraud, elder abuse, medication tampering. The words sounded too clean for what they meant. At sentencing, Sonia asked to speak. I almost didn't go. Then I decided she had taken enough rooms from me. She stood in front of the judge in a navy blouse I had bought her for a job interview years ago. Her hair was pulled back. Her face looked smaller than I remembered. I never wanted my mother dead, she said, crying. I was desperate. I made terrible choices, but I loved her. For a moment, the old reflex rose in me. Comfort her, protect her, explain her pain to everyone. Then the prosecutor played the pantry footage. Sonia's calm hands, the crushed white powder, the fake pill pressed into shape, her practice video. Her rehearsed fear, her smile, the courtroom went silent. When it was my turn, I stood with my statement folded in my hand. I had written 6 pages, memories, pain, questions. At the last minute, I read none of it. I looked at my daughter and said, I spent your life trying to make sure you never felt abandoned. You used that love as a hiding place. I hope one day you understand what you did, but I will not spend the rest of my life proving I deserve to survive." That was all. Sonia cried harder. This time, I let her. She was sentenced to prison, probation after release, restitution, and a permanent no-contact order unless I chose otherwise. I have not chosen otherwise. Isaac and Penny visit on Sundays now. At first, they came carefully, like I was breakable. Then one afternoon, Penny found the old height marks on the pantry door and asked if her father's name was there. It was. Martin, age 9. Sonia, age 6. I watched Penny touch her father's faded pencil mark. Then she touched Sonia's below it. "Do you want to paint over this?" she asked softly. I looked at those names for a long time. "No," I said. "That door tells the truth, all of it. Because Sonia was not only the woman who tried to steal my life, she had also been the child I loved. Both things were true, one did not erase the other. But only one of them was allowed to decide my future. A year after I found the sugar on the counter, I made tea in my kitchen again without checking the doorway every few seconds. The morning light came through the curtains. My real medication sat beside my cup in sealed packaging. I took it with water, then I opened the back door and stepped outside. The air was cool. The yard needed work. The porch railing still had a loose screw Harold would have fixed in 5 minutes. For the first time in a long time, none of that made me feel helpless. It made me feel here. Alive. Still the owner of my house. Still the keeper of my story. And no longer willing to confuse being a mother with being a victim.